We were talking a little bit about the basketball proposal, and NBA is, by all accounts, they were kind of out in the lead. They were kind of setting the pace as far as the communication would go between Players Association and the executives. And it seemed like they had a plan put in place to get back out onto the floor in late July and get into a tournament with 16 teams to decide and crown their champion. It's now coming out over the last 24 hours that up to about 50 players are discussing some of the guidelines that will be in place in Orlando while the NBA is playing in the bubble. And there seems to be some pushback here in T. The only thing I can think of, and I was listening to SportsCenter overnight coming in early this morning, and I was hearing a breakdown from it, and it was Woj on SportsCenter getting questioned and peppered about some of the concerns by the NBA players. And it seems like that they had a handshake agreement put in place that they wanted to get back onto the floor, and you heard both sides talking about that they wanted to play. And now that the contract is put in place and signed, it looks like that one side is kind of starting to read the fine print.
Yeah. It certainly feels like it's, I think it's like anything else in life where the idea of something sounds good and you're like, oh yeah, I'd be into that. And then when the rubber meets the road, right, and you actually get into doing that thing, it's suddenly like, wait a second. I don't know if I actually want to do this. It seems like where a lot of the pushback is coming from. Now, look, absolutely, I can't speak to how worried a player is about the virus or something, right? I see people all over the spectrum. I see people who are very comfortable. I see people who are very scared or very cautious. Like maybe you have a guy who's like a bit of a hypochondriac. Anyway, like I get if you don't want to show up for those reasons. The pushback that I have is when you hear about players who don't want to show up because they're going to be locked on Disney grounds for 8 weeks. First off, that's not that bad of a place to be locked up. You're still going to have all the amenities. There's bars, like there's stuff that you can do within there. And as it says in the print, if they leave the campus, they will have a 10-day quarantine upon their return. So they wouldn't be able to play, right? My problem with that is, as we said, these are unprecedented time, and so unprecedented kind of sacrifices and actions have to be made. And if you're going for goodwill and to get the fan base excited again, it's like it's just not going to go over well with anyone that you don't want to do it. You don't want to go make millions of dollars because you have to be locked at Disney for 8 weeks, right? I know like riverboat pilots and, offshore workers that they do like 60 on and 60 off, or a month on and a month off, right? And they can handle not seeing their family and everything. So, like, surely these players could as well. And I don't know. I actually think maybe also because what Adam Silver did, saying, okay, that's fine. Nobody has to show up. We're not forcing anybody. You won't get paid, but we're not forcing you to go if you're uncomfortable. Because that put so much pressure then on the players to make that decision, and the ensuing fallout will reflect on the players. I don't know, man. I think everybody shows up. I think you're going to have a couple. I don't think you're going to have any headliners, though. And, I don't know. What do you think?
Well, it's excellent. It's an excellent power play by Silver because it strips the decision of the NBA becoming the bad guy. And now, if anybody makes a choice, it's going to be on the players. And if they don't want to play, the NBA has the stance of they had the guidelines, they had the option, they chose not to show up.
Yeah.
Right? So from a public perception standpoint, it's excellent leadership in the sense that you put all of the pressure on the other side.
Yeah.
Right? So,
because like who's not going to show up?
Well, here's the only thing, in my opinion, that could make some true dominoes fall is if a superstar.
Yeah.
If some high-end players decide we're not going, we have enough money, we're not going to attempt it, we're not going to try with the health and concerns in that department, and we're not just going to play. We're just going to get ready for next season. And if that happens, you may see a majority of at least that team, or maybe a majority of the league, start to follow, and then it could all fall apart. It could fall apart pretty quick. But I'm with you. I think that you've seen so much eagerness on both sides to play, especially from the players, that now with giving the opportunity, if you look at it from a whole, it's 2 months. Yeah. It's 8 weeks.
It's 8 weeks. Suck it up.
And if you're playing 8 weeks later, you're playing for a championship.
Yeah, the majority of you won't be there for 8 weeks. You might be there for a month.
And I think somebody like LeBron, whose window, he's still got a nice view from his window. but it's not as wide as it once was, especially a couple of years ago. I mean, if you have him motivated for this tournament in this scenario, I think
he's
a lot
going to
of
be
the
motivated because he knows he's got a golden opportunity
to win a championship.
Yeah, he's got, and he's trying to stack rings.
That's what I'm saying. So I think he can set the pace. His leadership, his voice, his decision, I think, can kind of force the hand of a lot of players. It's easy to come out right now and say, I'm not going, I'm not playing.
Yeah.
But when you toss the ball up in the air and you see on TV that all of your peers and everybody's there,
it's going to be bad. And you're going to feel left out. And look, one of the main guys that was kind of pushing back at first was Dame Lillard, saying he wanted to know that, they had a legitimate shot. And now, ironically, ESPN has the Blazers with the best percentage chances to win that A seed in the West. The Blazers are actually, I want to say they got 30, they're 30, however ESPN does their projections, analytics and all that. The Blazers have a 35% chance of winning the AC compared to the Grizzlies 32, and then the Pelicans check in at 29. And of course, as we talked about, that's because the Blazers finally get their front court fully healthy. They have Nurkic and Zach Collins back, along with a healthy and rested Dame Lillard. So, yeah, he was one of the guys initially pushing back. He looks like he's in now. Yeah, I think everybody's going to show up.
NBA did say no random drug testing while in the bubble. I mean,
dude.
Can you imagine the amount of weed that's going to be being smoked from the NBA players during that bubble? I mean, really, if the NBA is smart, they should set him up with a weed guy in Orlando right now and just make sure that they never run out of weed for those 2 months.
Hey, dude, if you're a weed dealer on Disney campus, good on you.
I mean,
bro.
the NBA's coming to town, bro.
Let's go,
with no
dude.
drug limitation.